There's a moment, a single second, where your entire life can shatter. Not from violence, not from tragedy, but from recognition. Imagine sitting at your family's dinner table. Your sister is glowing, introducing her new boyfriend. Everyone's laughing. Everything feels perfect. And then he looks at you, and you know that he knows not your name, not your job, not the version of you sitting at that table. He knows the version you thought you'd buried forever. This is the true story of how one moment of eye contact destroyed a family's image forever. But more than that, it's about what happens when the person you've been hiding from is yourself. Let's call her Maya, 23 years old, college graduate with a degree that promised opportunity but delivered debt, $58,000 in student loans, $12 an hour at a coffee shop, rent that swallowed 70% of her paycheck in a city where everyone else seemed to be thriving. Her family? Upper middle class, respected in their suburban community. Her father was a church deacon who spoke at local events. Her mother volunteered at charity galas and organized neighborhood fundraisers. They had a pristine lawn, a 2-story house with a white picket fence, and a social media presence that screamed, "We have it all together." Image was everything. Sunday dinners were mandatory. Christmas cards were professionally photographed. Anything less than excellence was uncomfortable. Maya's older sister, Claire, was the golden child. 28 years old, marketing executive at a tech firm, engaged once before to a lawyer, though that fell through. But Claire always bounced back. She dated men with impressive LinkedIn profiles and brought them home like trophies, the kind of daughter who made family gatherings feel like victory laps. Maya loved her sister, genuinely, but she also lived in her shadow. And 3 years ago, when Maya was 20 and drowning in a city that didn't care if she survived, she made a choice that she thought would stay buried forever. She created an account on an adult content platform, not OnlyFans. This was before that became mainstream conversation, a smaller site, more anonymous. She told herself it would be temporary, just until she caught up on rent, on loans, on groceries, on the suffocating weight of barely surviving, while everyone around her seemed to have safety nets she couldn't even imagine. She researched. She was strategic. She never showed her face fully, always angled, always in shadow. Used a completely different name, changed her hair color digitally, wore makeup that transformed her features, convinced herself that the digital mask was thick enough that the separation between Maya the daughter and this online persona was absolute. The money helped, not enough to thrive, but enough to breathe. For 2 years, she lived this double life. By day, she smiled at customers and made lattes. By night, she performed for strangers who would never know her real name. And then she stopped, deleted everything she could, moved on, got a better job, started rebuilding, tried to bury it like it never happened. She convinced herself it was over. But the internet never forgets. And more, terrifyingly, neither do the people who watched. It was a Sunday in October when Claire brought him home for the first time. His name was Daniel, 31, works in finance, something complicated with investments that he explained with easy confidence. Drives a nice car, not flashy, but expensive firm handshake. Direct eye contact, the kind of guy parents pray their daughters bring home. Maya's mother was already gushing. "Claire, he's wonderful. So polite." Her father nodded approvingly, already discussing golf. Maya was in the kitchen helping her mom with dinner when she heard the introductions starting in the living room. She was tossing salad, half listening to her mother's excited whispers about how this might be the one. She wiped her hands on a towel, fixed her hair in the reflection of the microwave, took a breath, put on her best smile, and walked out. And that's when the world stopped. He recognized her immediately, not from a coffee shop, not from a mutual friend, not from college. He had seen her in a way no sister's boyfriend should ever see you, in a way that made her feel naked even though she was fully clothed. For a split second, maybe less, something flickered across his face. Surprise, recognition, realization, and then something else. Calculation. But he recovered quickly. He smiled, extended his hand like nothing had happened. "You must be Maya. Claire talks about you all the time. It's so great to finally meet you." She shook his hand. Her palm was sweating. Her voice sounded distant, even to herself, like someone else was speaking through her. "Nice to meet you too." But they both knew in that handshake, in that fraction of a second of eye contact, they both knew. And worse, she didn't know what he was going to do with that knowledge. Dinner was a performance for everyone. Daniel was perfect. He laughed at her dad's terrible jokes about market trends, complimented her mom's roast. "This is incredible, seriously. You should teach Claire your secrets." Talked about his career ambitions, his plans with Claire, his thoughts on starting a family someday. He was articulate, humble when needed, confident when appropriate. He was everything they wanted for their daughter. And Maya sat there, trapped in her own skin, feeling like a grenade with the pin pulled. Every time he spoke, she wondered, is he going to say something? Is this the moment he exposes me? Is he waiting for the right dramatic beat? But he didn't. He just existed, smiling, polite, dangerous in his normalcy. Claire reached over and squeezed his hand, beaming. "Isn't he great?" Maya forced a smile. "Yeah, great." Her mother started asking Daniel about his family, his childhood, his values. He answered thoughtfully, painting a picture of a man who was raised right, who respected women, who believed in honesty and integrity. Maya felt sick, because sitting across from her was a man who had paid to watch her, who had seen her in her most vulnerable moments, who had consumed content she created out of desperation, and now he was holding her sister's hand and talking about integrity. The irony was suffocating. She needed air, she needed to think, she needed to escape. How did this happen? Of all the people in the world, in this massive city with millions of strangers, her sister brings home someone who had seen her like that? The odds felt cruel, cosmically, impossibly unfair. Was this karma? Punishment? Random chance that felt too pointed to be random? She stared at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman looking back. Was this who she was now? The girl with the secret? The sister with something to hide? When she came back to the table, he was in the middle of telling a story about a business trip to Singapore. Everyone was captivated, leaning in, except Maya. She sat down quietly, picked up her fork, and then she caught his eye mid-sentence, and he winked a tiny, almost imperceptible gesture that no one else saw. Just a flicker of acknowledgement. Her blood ran cold, because that wink said everything. I know, and I'm in control now. He texted her after everyone went to bed. We need to talk. She stared at those 4 words for 10 minutes before responding. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Delete, type, delete, type. Finally. How did you get my number? The response came immediately. Claire's phone. Look, I'm not trying to make this weird. Can we just talk? Tomorrow, coffee? There's a place on 5th Street. She wanted to refuse, to block him, to tell Claire right then and there. But fear stopped her. Fear of what he might say first. Fear of how it would sound coming from him versus her. Fear of losing control of her own narrative. She typed back, fine, 2 p.m. She didn't sleep that night. She played out every possible conversation, every way he might use this against her, every way her family might react. By morning, she'd convinced herself this was a trap. The next day, she met him at a cafe across town, neutral ground, public enough to feel safe, quiet enough to talk. He was already there when she arrived, sitting in a back corner booth with 2 coffees. He didn't waste time. I'm not going to tell her, he said, sliding one of the coffees toward her. Or your family. That's not why I wanted to talk. Maya's hands were clenched in her lap. She didn't touch the coffee. Then why? He leaned back, studied her with an expression that was hard to read, not predatory, not sympathetic, something in between. Because I need you to understand something. I don't care what you did. People do what they have to do to survive. I'm not judging you. She felt anger rising, hot and sudden. You don't get to decide whether I feel judged. You know something I never wanted my family to know. That's not neutral. That's power. You have power over me now. He nodded slowly, like he'd expected this. You're right. It is power. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to use it. I love your sister. I want to build a life with her. Your past doesn't affect that. It doesn't change how I see Claire. It doesn't change anything. Maya laughed bitterly. Doesn't it? You're sitting here telling me you'll keep my secret like you're doing me some huge favor that's literally holding it over me. Every family dinner, every holiday, every time you look at me, I'll know that you know. That's not freedom. That's a cage. He frowned, and for the first time, he looked uncomfortable. What do you want me to do? I can't unknow what I know. I can't erase my memory. I'm trying to do the right thing here. The right thing, Maya's voice cracked. The right thing would have been to walk away the second you recognized me, to tell Claire you couldn't date her because of a conflict. Anything but this. I didn't know you were her sister until I walked into that house, he said quietly. And when you did know, you still stayed. You still sat there smiling and shaking hands and pretending everything was normal. He looked away. Because I do love her, and I didn't want this. He gestured between them. To ruin that. Maya stood up. You're not keeping my secret for me, Daniel. You're keeping it for yourself. Because if Claire knew you recognized me and said nothing, she'd see you differently. This isn't about protecting me. It's about protecting your relationship. She walked out before he could respond. Over the next few months, Daniel became family. He came to Thanksgiving, helped Maya's dad fix the deck, brought wine to dinners, remembered everyone's birthdays. He was thoughtful, reliable, the kind of partner every parent dreams of. Everyone adored him, everyone except Maya. She couldn't relax around him. Every smile felt loaded. Every conversation felt like walking on a tightrope over a pit she couldn't see the bottom of. And the worst part? He kept his word. He never said anything. Never hinted, never made inappropriate comments or looks beyond that first wink. But the secret itself became a wedge, not between him and her, between her and everyone else. Maya started avoiding family events, made excuses, work project. Feeling sick. Already have plans. Her mom noticed first. Honey, is everything okay? You've missed 3 Sunday dinners. That's not like you. I'm fine, Mom. Just busy with work. Are you sure? You seem distant. Did something happen? No, Mom, I promise. Everything's fine. But she wasn't fine. She was drowning. The weight of the secret was suffocating her, not because Daniel was blackmailing her or threatening her, but because he existed in her family's life as a living, breathing reminder of something she'd tried to leave behind. Every time her phone rang with a family invitation, she felt the dread. Every time she saw photos of Claire and Daniel on social media, she felt the knot in her stomach tighten. She started having panic attacks, couldn't sleep, lost weight. Her coworkers asked if she was okay. She wasn't. She realized something devastating. Even when someone promises to keep your secret, the fact that they know changes everything. The power dynamic never disappears. It just becomes quieter, more insidious, more psychological. She wasn't afraid of Daniel anymore. She was afraid of herself, of the shame that wouldn't let her breathe, of the lie she was living by, showing up and pretending everything was normal. And she couldn't live like that anymore. Something had to break. 6 months after that first dinner, Maya made a decision. She called Claire. Hey, can we meet? Just you and me. It's important. Really important. Claire heard something in her voice. Are you okay? You're scaring me. I'm okay. I need to talk to you about something in person. They met at a park the next day, the same park they'd played at as kids. Neutral ground, familiar ground. Maya had rehearsed this 100 times, but when Claire sat down next to her on the bench, all the words evaporated. "What's going on?" Claire asked, genuinely concerned, and Maya just started crying, not delicate tears, ugly, choking sobs that she'd been holding back for months. Claire put her arm around her. Hey, it's okay. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out." And Maya told her everything. Not because Daniel threatened her, not because she was cornered, but because she couldn't carry it alone anymore, because the weight of the secret was crushing her more than the truth ever could. She told her about the financial desperation 3 years ago, about the platform, about the content, about feeling trapped and ashamed and alone, and then she told her about Daniel. Claire's arm slowly slipped away. She sat back, her face cycling through emotions in real time. Shock, confusion, hurt, anger, disbelief. Wait, Daniel knows about this? Maya nodded, unable to look at her. He recognized me. That first dinner, the moment we made eye contact, I knew he knew. And he never. Claire's voice was hollow. He never told me? He said he was protecting you, that he didn't want it to ruin your relationship. But Claire, I couldn't keep showing up and pretending. I couldn't watch you fall in love with someone who knows my worst secret and decided it was his place to keep it from you. The silence stretched between them. Finally, Claire spoke, her voice barely a whisper. I don't care what you did, Maya. I mean, I'm processing it, but I don't care in the way you think I do. You did what you had to do. That's not what I'm upset about. Maya looked up, surprised. You're not? No. Claire's jaw tightened. I'm upset that he kept this from me, that he shook your hand and sat at our family table and acted like everything was fine while you were suffering, that he made a decision about what I should or shouldn't know about my own sister. She stood up. That's not protecting me, that's controlling information. That's deciding he knows better than me what I can handle. She walked a few steps away, then turned back. I need to think. But Maya, thank you for telling me. I know that took everything. Claire ended things with Daniel 2 days later. Not because of what Maya had done, but because he'd kept something that big from her. Because he'd let her sister suffer in silence while he played the perfect boyfriend. Because he'd made a unilateral decision about their relationship without her consent. I don't care about your past, Claire told Maya when it was over. I care that he used it, intentionally or not, to create distance between us. I care that he thought he had the right to manage our family dynamics without telling me. But the hardest part was still ahead, telling their parents. Maya told her parents the following week with Claire beside her. It wasn't easy. It was one of the hardest things she'd ever done. Her father didn't speak to her for a week. Didn't call, didn't text, just silence. Her mother cried. Not angry tears, sad ones. Why didn't you come to us? We would have helped. We would have figured something out. I was ashamed, Maya said simply. I thought you'd see me differently. We do, her father said finally when he started speaking again. We see you more clearly now. Maya's heart sank, but then he continued. We see that you've been carrying something impossibly heavy alone. We see that we created an environment where you felt like you couldn't ask for help. We see that our image mattered more to us than your well-being. He paused. And we see that we failed you, not because of what you did, but because you didn't feel safe enough to tell us when you were drowning. Something unexpected happened after the truth came out. The image they'd worked so hard to maintain, it cracked, shattered really, and underneath it, they found something more honest, more fragile but more real. They started family therapy, all of them. Maya's mother admitted she'd struggled financially in her 20s too, made choices she wasn't proud of, married Maya's father partly for stability. Her father, the deacon who spoke about righteousness, confessed he'd judged people harshly for years without understanding their circumstances, that he'd prioritized reputation over relationship. Claire admitted she'd felt pressure to always be perfect, to never need help, to be the daughter who made everyone proud, and that it had cost her authentic connection. The family didn't fall apart. It transformed, slowly, painfully, but genuinely. They stopped posting the perfect family photos, started having real conversations, started saying, "I don't know," and "I'm struggling," and "I need help." So what destroyed the family's image? Not Maya's past, not Daniel's recognition, not even the secret itself, but the truth. And here's the thing about truth. It doesn't destroy. It reveals. It reveals what was already broken underneath the performance. Their family image was built on perfection, on hiding anything that didn't fit the narrative, on maintaining appearances at the cost of authenticity. When that image shattered, what remained was something more fragile, but infinitely more valuable. Maya learned that shame thrives in silence, that secrets give other people power, not because they'll necessarily use it, but because you believe they might, that the fear of being seen is often worse than actually being seen. Claire learned that love requires honesty, that protecting someone from truth isn't the same as protecting them, that control disguised as care is still control. Their parents learned that grace is harder than judgment, but infinitely more necessary, that the standards they held their children to were impossible because they'd never been honest about their own failures, and they all learned that image is exhausting. That performing perfection leaves no room for being human. Today, Maya speaks openly about her past, not with pride or shame, just honesty. She volunteers with young women struggling financially. She talks about the reality of survival and the complexity of choices made under pressure. She's rebuilding her relationship with her sister. It's not perfect. There are still hard days. But it's real. And Daniel, he's not part of the story anymore because some people enter your life to teach you something, even if the lesson is painful. He taught Maya that silence is a choice, that keeping secrets for someone without their consent isn't protection, it's control. And he taught Claire that love built on incomplete information isn't actually love, it's a projection. Here's what this story teaches us. Your past doesn't define you, but hiding from it gives it power. Recognition isn't the same as judgment. Being seen isn't the same as being condemned. And sometimes, the image we destroy is the one that was suffocating us all along. The family we present to the world and the family we actually are. When those two things get too far apart, the distance becomes unsustainable. If you're carrying a secret that's eating you alive, if you're performing a version of yourself that's exhausting to maintain, if you're afraid that being truly seen will destroy everything, maybe the thing you fear most, being known, is actually the thing that will set you free, because the people who matter will surprise you. Not all of them, not immediately, but the ones who matter, they'll show up. And the image that shatters, it was probably a cage anyway. What secrets are you carrying that are heavier than the truth? Leave your thoughts below, and remember, you're not alone.